Let me tell you something. When you reach a certain age, you don't owe explanations to nobody. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody. You have spent years working, sacrificing, raising kids, helping family, being there for everybody else. But now is your time. When you reach a certain stage in life, you have to realize that your time is now. You spent years putting others first, your children, your spouse, your job, your family, even friends who needed you. You've been the one people turned to, the one who made sacrifices, the one who stayed up late worrying about everybody else's problems. You've carried responsibilities on your back, and you did it because that's who you are. You did it because you love hard, you care deeply, and you take pride in being dependable. But now it's different. Now it's your time, not in a selfish way, but in a necessary way. But because the truth is, if you don't start prioritizing yourself, no one else will. The people who always depended on you will keep depending on you. The people who always called on you will keep calling. And if you're not careful, you'll look up and realize that you've given away all your time, energy, and peace and left nothing for yourself. You have to understand that life moves in seasons. There was a time when you had to grind, hustle, and push through. There was a time when you had to work extra hours, take care of a household, and make sure everybody else was straight. That was a necessary season, but seasons change. Just like you don't see trees trying to hold on to old leaves, you can't hold on to an old mindset. The time of constantly putting yourself last is over. Now is the time for you to do what makes you happy. Maybe that means traveling to places you always dreamed of. Maybe that means sitting on your porch with a cup of coffee in the morning and not worrying about a thing. Maybe it means picking up an old hobby, starting a business, or just having the freedom to wake up and do absolutely nothing. Whatever it is, you deserve it. Too often people get older and think their best years are behind them. That's a lie. Your best years are the ones where you are finally free to live on your own terms. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. You don't have to ask for permission to enjoy your life. You don't have to keep playing the role of fixer, savior, or problem solver for people who should have figured it out by now. If you don't make yourself a priority now, when will you? You've done enough for others. You've carried enough weight. You've proven yourself time and time again. You don't have to keep running yourself into the ground to be valuable. Your value is not in how much you do for others, it's in who you are. And who you are is someone who has earned the right to slow down, to breathe, to enjoy, to live without guilt. Silence is power. Not everyone understands this because we live in a world where people think the loudest person in the room is the strongest. They believe that speaking up, clapping back, and constantly proving a point is what makes them respected. But real power doesn't come from noise, it comes from control. It comes from knowing when to speak and when to hold back. There was a time in life when you had to defend yourself, when you had to explain, when you had to make sure people understood where you were coming from. But as you get older, you start to realize that not everything needs a response. Not every argument needs to be won. Not every situation requires your energy. Silence is a skill, and when you master it, you protect your peace. People will bait you into conversations that don't serve you. They'll try to get a reaction, hoping to pull you into negativity, drama, or unnecessary debates. But when you choose silence, you take away their power. You don't give them access to your emotions. You don't allow them to disturb your spirit. You learn to observe, to listen, to understand what's really happening beneath the surface. Because the truth is, most people don't want to hear you. They just want to argue. They want to pull you into their mess so they can feel important. But silence, that frustrates them. It keeps them guessing. It forces them to deal with themselves. There's a difference between being silent out of fear and being silent out of wisdom. Some people stay quiet because they don't know what to say, but the wise stay quiet because they know saying too much isn't necessary. When you hold your peace, you can see situations more clearly. You're not reacting from emotion, you're responding with intelligence. You learn to let people think what they want, because at the end of the day, Their opinions don't pay your bills, don't change your reality, and don't define who you are. As you get older, you start to notice how much energy gets wasted on meaningless conversations. You see how people go back and forth over things that won't matter in a week, a month, or a year? You understand that peace is worth more than proving a point. And the more you embrace silence, the more you gain control over your own life. You also begin to notice that silence reveals the truth. When you stop explaining yourself, you see who really understands you. When you stop responding to negativity, you see who respects you. When you stop trying to force connections, you see who values your presence without needing constant validation. There is power in walking away. There is power in letting people think what they want. There is power in choosing not to engage. Protecting your peace is one of the most valuable things you can do as you get older. Life has a way of teaching you that not everything is worth your time, your energy, or your emotion. When you were younger, you might have felt the need to be involved in everything, to fix problems, to be there for everyone, to carry the weight of situations that weren't even yours to carry. But as time passes, you start to understand that peace is not something you stumble upon. It's something you create and protect. One of the biggest threats to your peace is unnecessary drama. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Family, friends, co-workers, or even people online. Some people thrive on chaos. They live for gossip, for arguments, for stirring the pot just to see what happens. And if you're not careful, they will pull you right into their mess, draining you of the energy you should be using to enjoy your own life. The key is recognizing that not every invitation to drama needs a response. You don't have to engage. You don't have to defend yourself, and you don't have to explain your choices to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Another way to protect your peace is by setting boundaries. This means learning to say no without feeling guilty. It means understanding that just because you love people doesn't mean you have to tolerate their negativity. Some people will take as much as you give, and if you don't set limits, they will leave you emotionally exhausted. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about keeping yourself intact. When you set clear boundaries, you are letting people know what you will and will not accept in your life. And the right people will respect that, while the wrong people will try to guilt trip you into doing what benefits them. Your peace is also protected by choosing where you place your focus. If you spend all your time worrying about things you can't control, you will constantly feel overwhelmed. If you allow the news, social media, or negative conversations to dictate your mood, you will always be on edge. But when you make a conscious effort to focus on the good in your life, to appreciate the small moments, to surround yourself with positivity, you create a space where peace can grow. Letting go of grudges is another way to protect your peace. Carrying anger and resentment only hurts you in the long run. People will disappoint you, they will hurt you, and they may never apologize for it. But holding on to that negativity does nothing but keep you stuck. Forgiveness isn't about them, it's about freeing yourself. It's about choosing to move forward instead of being weighed down by the past. When you stop giving your energy to things that don't serve you, you make room for the things that do. Peace is a choice, and the more you choose it, the more you realize how much better life feels without unnecessary burdens. Stop seeking approval. One of the biggest mistakes people make is spending their lives trying to please others, trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for them. It starts early, seeking approval from parents, teachers, friends, and then later from bosses, coworkers, society, and even strangers. The problem is, no matter how much you do, no matter how much you give, there will always be someone who thinks it's not enough. The moment you realize that other people's opinions do not define you is the moment you truly start living. You have to understand that people will always have something to say. If you do too much, they'll say you're trying too hard. If you do too little, they'll say you're lazy. If you speak up, they'll say you talk too much. If you stay quiet, they'll say you're weak. No matter what you do, someone will have an opinion. So why waste your time and energy trying to impress people who are going to judge you either way? The only approval you truly need is your own. Trying to live for other people's validation is exhausting. It means constantly changing yourself, constantly second-guessing your decisions, constantly worrying about whether people will like you. That's not freedom, that's a prison. And the worst part is, most of the people you're trying to impress aren't even paying attention. They're too busy dealing with their own lives, their own problems, their own insecurities. So you're sitting there stressing over what they think while they are not thinking about you at all. As you get older, you realize that peace comes from being authentic. It comes from knowing who you are and standing in that truth, regardless of who approves or disapproves. It means making decisions based on what's best for you, not based on what will make other people comfortable. When you stop seeking approval, you start making choices that align with your happiness, not other people's expectations. You stop pretending to be something you're not just to fit in. You stop putting yourself last just to make others happy. The truth is, people respect those who stand firm in who they are. They may not always agree with you, but they will recognize that you are unapologetically yourself. And those who can't handle that, they were never meant to be part of your journey in the first place. The right people will support you, the right people will celebrate you, and the right people will love you for who you are, not for who they want you to be. At the end of the day, you are the one who has to live with your choices. You are the one who has to wake up every morning and be okay with the life you're living. So stop looking outside yourself for validation. Stop changing yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you take control of your own life. Choose joy and health. As you get older, you start to realize that nothing matters more than how you feel, physically, mentally, and emotionally. When you were younger, you might have been able to push through exhaustion, ignore stress, and put yourself last without thinking twice. But now it's different. Your body reminds you, your mind reminds you, life reminds you, the days of running yourself into the ground for the sake of others are over. Now it's about making choices that bring you happiness and keep you strong. Joy is something you have to protect. It's easy to get caught up in negativity, to let small problems steal your peace, to focus on what's wrong instead of what's right. But you have to be intentional about happiness. You have to wake up every day and decide that you're going to enjoy your life no matter what's happening around you. That doesn't mean everything is perfect. It doesn't mean you won't have struggles. It just means you refuse to let those struggles define your entire experience. Health is the foundation of everything. Without it, nothing else matters. You can have all the money in the world, all the success, all the accomplishments, but if you don't feel good, if your body is breaking down, if your energy is low, if your spirit is drained, none of it means anything. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it's a necessity. That means eating foods that fuel you instead of draining you. That means moving your body, stretching, walking, doing whatever it takes to keep yourself strong. That means listening to your body when it tells you to slow down instead of pushing through like you used to. But health isn't just about the body, it's about the mind too. Protecting your mental and emotional health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. That means letting go of toxic relationships, cutting off people who bring stress instead of peace, and surrounding yourself with positive energy. It means not dwelling on the past, not carrying grudges, not wasting time on things that don't serve you. Stress is one of the biggest killers, and most of the things people stress about aren't even worth it in the long run. Part of choosing joy is allowing yourself to do things that make you happy. Too many people put their happiness on hold, waiting for the right time to enjoy life. But the right time is now. Take that trip, eat at that restaurant, start that hobby, spend time with people who make you laugh. Stop worrying about what other people think and start doing what feels good for you, because at the end of the day, happiness is not something you find, it's something you create. And when you prioritize both your joy and your health, you give yourself the best possible chance to live a full, rich, and meaningful life. Set boundaries. One of the most important lessons you learn as you get older is that not everyone deserves access to you. For too long, you may have allowed people to drain your energy, take advantage of your kindness, or pull you into situations that left you feeling exhausted. But at a certain point, you realize that your time, your energy, and your peace are too valuable to be given away freely. Setting boundaries is not about being mean or selfish. It's about protecting yourself from anything or anyone that does not serve your well-being. People will take as much as you allow them to take. If you are always available, always saying yes, always putting others before yourself, some people will never stop asking. They won't consider whether they're overwhelming you. They won't think about how their demands affect your life. It's up to you to decide what you will and won't accept. It's up to you to draw the line and say, this is what I can do and this is what I won't tolerate. And the people who respect you will honor those boundaries. The ones who don't, they were only there for what they could get from you in the first place. Boundaries are necessary in every area of life. With family, it means understanding that just because someone is related to you doesn't mean they have the right to disrupt your peace. With friends, it means recognizing who truly values you versus who only calls when they need something. With work, it means not allowing your job to consume your entire life. With yourself, it means being disciplined enough to say no when something doesn't align with your values or your well-being. The hardest part about setting boundaries is dealing with the people who don't like them. Some people will try to make you feel guilty. They will say you've changed, that you're acting different, that you don't care. But the truth is, you're not changing for the worse. You're growing. You're realizing that constantly sacrificing yourself for others is not sustainable. You're understanding that your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. And if someone gets upset because you're taking care of yourself, that's their issue to deal with, not yours. A key part of boundaries is learning to say no without guilt, no to unnecessary obligations, no to toxic relationships, no to anything that steals your joy or disrupts your peace. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You might worry about how people will react, but the more you do it, the stronger you become. You start to realize that saying yes to yourself, the people who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries. They will understand that you're not shutting them out. You're simply protecting your space. And the ones who walk away, let them. Because when you enforce your boundaries, you make room for healthier relationships, a clearer mind, and a life that feels good to you.